Hey everybody, how are you doing today? It is August 18th, 2020, around 4:30 p.m. here in Michigan. Hope everybody's having a good day. Got a few articles we're going to get into here. We're going to start here. This is going to become, we'll use what they always like to say, the new normal, right? Well, this is what's going to become the new normal. New Zealand forcing CV19 patients into quarantine facilities. Health chief announces. These facilities have been set up specifically and have excellent process and resources in place to look after people with CV19, including health staff on site at all times, the government health chief insisted. Does this sound like Fema camp to you? Because it sure does to me. The government of New Zealand has announced that all CV19 infected citizens and possibly close relatives to them will be taken and placed in mandatory quarantine facilities. Yes, you heard that right. Mandatory quarantine facilities. And not only if you are supposedly infected or if you've tested positive, but possibly close relatives with them. Do you see the writing on the wall now?
As part of our overall national response to this new outbreak, I am now directing medical officers of health that all cases, confirmed cases, are to be managed in a quarantine facility. Now, this is different to how positive cases were managed when we were last at levels 4 and indeed 3, and shows how serious we are about limiting any risk of ongoing transmission, even in self-isolation and including to others in the household. This will apply to any cases and also close family members who might be at risk as appropriate. A reminder, these facilities have been set up specifically and have excellent processes and resources in place to look after people with COVID-19, including health staff on site at all times, and it will help us avoid any further inadvertent spread into the community as part of our overall response.
Well, you heard it right from them, right from the government's mouth. New Zealand now is forcing everyone that has tested positive into these mandatory quarantine facilities, or just like we've always called them, Fema camps, because these are set up everywhere. This is not just something that's happening in New Zealand, and all of you know that. We have done many videos throughout all these years talking about all of the detention and Fema camp centers that have been set up throughout the United States. You know, we were all a bunch of conspiracy nut idiots when we talked about the Walmarts getting changed over. Well, that came 100% true. That was even in mainstream. They used, the one in Brownsville, Texas, as a detention center. So these things are all coming to pass. Previously, the government had required people who contracted the CV to self-isolate in their homes, with only travelers entering the country having to isolate in managed isolation, if asymptomatic, or quarantine facilities if they show symptoms. But officials are now going further in response to 4 members of a family in South Auckland being diagnosed with the virus, breaking the country's 102-day streak of no new community transmission. Bloomberg adds that the government reported a total of 13 new cases Thursday, bringing the national total to 36 active cases. 19 of those cases came from people who tested positive after returning from overseas travel. A reminder, these facilities have been set up specifically and have excellent processes and resources in place to look after the people with CV19, right? Yeah, you heard him say that. What a joke, right? Yep, they're real safe. We're just doing it for you. Here we go. It says the facilities themselves consist of 32 hotels across the country, with Auckland having 19. Meals are delivered to residents' room. Regulations for movement outside of individual rooms vary from location to location, but require face masks. Like many other nations, New Zealand's response to CV19 has raised concerns over civil liberties, particularly keeping churches closed while allowing secular entities to open. In March, lawmakers also voted to decriminalize abortion. Do you see how evil that this is becoming? Not only are they decriminalizing abortion, they're all okay with that. They won't allow us to go to church. They won't tell you, you can't go to church at all. You can keep rioting, but it don't matter. We're taking your civil liberties away. Yep, that's right. While many in the press held up New Zealand as a model for success, journalism Jordan Chatchell argues that the truth is anything but. Of course the press was trying to hold them up, as a model for success, because what did they do? They locked us down, took all of our rights away. So yeah, perfect. That's the way you do it, right? Look here's the model. That's what you got to do. Says tourism has been indefinitely cancelled. Says New Zealand cannot even accept visitors from neighboring Australia. Tourism is a massive industry in New Zealand. It accounts for 6% of GDP and 8.4% of the country's workforce, or 230,000 Kiwis, are employed in the tourism industry. People are getting a lot poorer. The country entered into recession in June. A new jobs report found that in addition to the 4% of the workforce that cannot find a job, some 346,000 Kiwis are underemployed. Yeah, you think that this is all happening? Like how they act like, oh, well, look what CV is causing. CV is causing all of this. They're causing us to lose all this money, all the unemployment, the loss of jobs. No, you are causing it. You know what you're doing because it's all planned. Says, meanwhile, he continues, New Zealand doesn't appear to have a set endgame on how it will deal with the CV. Officials appear to be banking on a widespread, what? Oh, of course, a vax, with unprecedented efficacy to keep them sheltered from the virus. It's just nuts. How can people not understand what is going on? This is all about mandatory vax. When New Zealand opens back up, the virus will be circulating around the world, and much of the population will inevitably face risk of infection. Says New Zealand has temporarily shielded its 4.8 million citizens from the virus, but at a tremendous cost that is going to set back Kiwis for years. Don't you love how they say they're doing it for you? Oh, look, we shielded it. We protected our 4.8 million citizens from the virus. Oh, sorry, though, that it cost you your work, your life, your family, your freedom, your everything. And if they're doing this stuff here in New Zealand, do you not think that it's coming to the United States? Well, check out this story. I've been watching this story everybody covered a few days ago and the last couple of days. I just want to make sure that it wasn't, fake, so I've been waiting on it. But here we go. Fields of human cages discovered in Carthage, California. It says Fema camps portable human cages. It's all real, all of it. Well, it sure is looking out that way, isn't it? Here, I'll play you this video real quick, and you tell me what you think.
Look down here in the bottom. It's a fucking toilet.
It does.
Yes, sir, it does.
They have fucking toilets or toilets in them. Holy shit, dude. Those are for people.
Yeah, those are for people.
They've got toilets.
How many are there, bro?
No.
Please let me know what you think. I'm going to continue to cover this. I love you all. Continue to pray against all this. We have so much, going on right now. We just have to stick together. We have to come together now. We truly are running out of time. This vax is right around the corner. We'll talk to you all real soon. God bless.